what's going on in our community. And I guess we'll get started by temperature check. And I'll ask Nate to kick us off.
Thanks, Cam. Temperature check is good. A lot of motion towards creating DAOs from the working groups, which is really cool. Outside of that, I don't really have much to add, and I think it's been pretty solid this week. So I'll pass it to Wonka.
Thanks, Nate. Well, I feel that it's very important that we are taking like our first decisions as a DAO, and that's very interesting. And also, other thing that I have been thinking is that it's really cool that we encourage people that work a lot to also take vacations. Because I was thinking in Libby, and I really hope that she like had a good time off from the organization, because like we all need it sometimes in a while. And now that I am looking into other organizations, it's not so much normal, and we have normalized it. So I think like that's a good practice that we can talk about and share with other organizations. And besides that, yeah, I have been working on the Graviton training, and I will be back in Colombia next week. So yeah, I'm happy to have lived this experience here in Europe, but I am also ready to go back to my house. And I will pass to Tam.
Cool. I'll say it's from a personal perspective, it's a very challenging week for me. So I feel like I'm just barely keeping everything together. So that's the truth. But school starts on Friday, and things will change dramatically after that. And so I feel a little, I don't know, like, just I feel like I don't have my fingers on the pulse of anything right now. But overall, I did a Zen Hub onboarding today for the TEC, and the people I expected to show up, and then a bunch of other people showed up, and it was really nice. And it's just, I guess the thing I keep coming back to is like this idea that a successful DAO is a DAO where you actually have a community, and the community's active, and new people keep coming. And so it seems like if that's the criteria that I'm using to measure success right now, we're really successful. So I'll pass to Santi from here.
Thank you, Tom. Well, all I can say is I want to thank everyone who took care of legal while I was away. Libby and you, Tom, and of course Sean. I've been catching up a little bit, and hopefully this week I'll be just joining the meeting. And all I can say is that I'm just anxious to see how we progress, how the parents are doing, and how we are moving forward with the new dashboard, and how we start discussions with the new final DAO, and how everything evolves. I can't wait to see how we finally launch. I will pass it to Jepti.
Thanks, Santi. Yeah, I leave some stuff on legal, like Sean is reviewing the code of conduct for platform admins. Yeah, you could take a look. That would be awesome. And for temperature check, I think it's going awesome. Like there is a lot of debates, and it's coming slowly, but I feel like the forum is being more active than ever. So that's super cool. And yeah, that's my temperature check. I'll pass it to Katie.
I was having some mic trouble today, so hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, it's going well for me. I'm feeling a lot of movement actually on developing a team for this orientation / community building working group. So that's been great. And actually, Tam, I posted in orientation about your Zen Hub onboarding, and I realized I probably should have posted it sooner, but hopefully that had sent a couple of people your way, because that is definitely something that is part of what everybody needs. So those have been really amazing. Yeah, so I'm reconnecting to the pulse after the summer, and it's kind of getting cold. All right, did you go, Griff? Or I don't think so, Griff.
Cold is right. It must be global cooling or something. Sounds like it's cold all over the world. Temperature check is good. I mean, the Pram stuff is just so exciting. Like the Brazilian ninjas are just killing it, slaughtering it. They're together right now hacking on getting the conviction voting demo out. So it's just things are moving so well on that side. Seems like the community is bustling. We're at this conference at the CCG, and it's like Common Stack's the highlight. And the TEC we're the highlight. So it feels really good, and just getting so much positive feedback about this. So I actually thought it would be a little bit more difficult in this in-between time with the DAO. So I'm pleasantly surprised that there isn't that people see that progress is happening and they're not so like, hey, there's money just sitting here. So that's really good. I was really worried that there would be a need for momentum. But honestly, everyone just put their money in, and the people who are busy are being busy, and the people who are excited are just getting more and more excited. So I would say it's really positive on the external side. I mean, the only challenge is Common Swarm, trying to hold it together over there. But things are being held together, making deals and figuring out the details to make sure that everything is complete. Everything will be complete. Still having a challenge over the bonding curve stuff, but hopefully I can appeal to authorities and we'll sort it out. I'll pass it to. Am I last? No, Deceptimus. Did you go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chewy.
Thanks, Griff. These days remind me a lot of the pre-hatch days. Everybody's starting to freak out, and there's a lot going on in params, and there's a lot going on in the forum, and the advice process is on fire, and then everybody's asking again, what's gonna happen after this stage. But I'm really happy because it's not our first rodeo. And I feel that we're gonna do pretty good at this stage before the Commons upgrade. And yeah, in retrospective, I feel that the hatch was like a warm up for everything that's gonna happen. And yeah, I'm very excited. I'm just very excited for everything that is gonna be evolving in the next few weeks. And yes, I'm also excited to share some ideas for the Comms DAO today. So I think Septi went already, so I'll pass it back to Tem.
Cool, excellent. There was an open question about how we could communicate, or how Sem wanted to communicate about dev position, the Aragon dev position. Do we have any resolution on how we can communicate it yet, or whether we should, or what, any guidance?
I forget. I don't know. This is like saying, hey, we need an Aragon experienced dev. I
think it came up in our retrospective, in our previous retrospective, that we needed a dev, and the question was, how can we best communicate it?
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to Sam about how much Paulo can be involved still, and what the lines are there, and all of that. I mean, I'm asking around, looking for a common stack, specifically a common stack dev but I have a call with Brett tomorrow, but I don't think it's likely. But at least he could point me in the right direction too. And then yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Sem's thoughts are on that exactly. Although I mean, I'm pretty sure that I think it's all cool. We just, I honestly, I don't know. I don't remember this.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Hey,
All right.
Griff, there's a Catalan DAO that's just starting, and one of the leaders is from Bogdomi. I think it's Ferran, or I forgot his name. I can just pose a question there if there's anyone there that could help out. I don't know. Some of these guys may
Yeah, that's
work on and maybe quite familiar with it.
no, that's definitely my. Actually, I was gonna go to Pal's house on like the 11th or something around then that weekend, because Pal leads Voctoni and they're the lead devs for Aragon. They're the only Aragon dev team right now. So totally, if you're chatting up with Ferran, definitely float that idea his way. That'd be awesome.
Okay, I will.
Hey, yeah, because I'm gonna hit him on all angles when I get to Barcelona this weekend or next weekend.
Cool. Spotlight for tomorrow's community sync.
Gonna be presenting Being Paid to Learn, but not sure if Natalia or Angela or Danchella, I can't pronounce the name, will present. So I will confirm that today.
Oh, great. Fantastic. I'd love to know more about them too. That is the collaboration with Ethic Hub and Block Science and
Ethic
TE
Hub,
Academy.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Everyone knows already, but just to reiterate that there are proposals and advice process on the forum. Wanting to just check where we are with them, maybe as all of us together. I think the status of the 75% deleted governance was we will wait to, as of last night, we'll wait to hear back for technical solutions. I think that
Yeah, and also yesterday I talked with Sam, and he said to me that he was thinking on a third option. So yeah,
I
it was
talked to Sam about that last night. I'm not the biggest fan.
okay, but yeah, that we are looking for the best ways to do it. Not only the ones that are posted, but like continuing in research, and yeah, because I see that the problem is not like the 75% governance back, is more like how are we going to implement it, and the vote has like these two aspects, and I think like the vote still needs a little bit of time.
Yeah, which is why I think we're doing advice process for, I mean, the third option in the proposal was like, find another solution, maybe another solution will emerge. So yeah, I think that seems like the one where advice process is leaning towards as well. Okay, for accommodating the lost addresses, Zeptimus posted it on Snapshot already. Zep, you want to give a quick update on that?
Yeah, I also was talking with Ivy, and she synced with the comms team to make a Twitter post by tomorrow. And also in the forum post, it was saying like we make the vote tomorrow, but since our cultural, normally we take decisions and we let the whole weekend, I thought it might be a good idea to post it on Friday, so it's closing on Monday and not in Sunday. And yeah, it's on weighted voting. I think that's how our hashtag works. So yeah, I mean, I'm gathering the last pieces of feedback, and there's also going to be a video. I've suggested to make a video on how to use snapshots, since it's a new tool for the community. It's going to be done today, which is very simple. And yeah, basically it's there, and it's going to be, it seems like the first one. I still need to do some edits that Tam was suggesting, but I'm waiting to have all of them, since I have to delete and recreate. But yeah, it's going to be done. It's ready almost. Yeah.
Cool. So that will be our first one, our first TEC community snapshot vote, other than the tests.
Yay!
Yay. And so is this going to be, are we going to delete this snapshot just to make the edits for the timeline here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be a new, a totally new URL. Okay, a totally new snapshot.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. The community covenant. I don't think there's much to say about that, actually. Is there anything that needs to be said about the community covenant that all stewards should know about right now? Seems like it's probably just ready to go.
I mean, I assume we have to vote on it, right?
Yeah. I would think this is going to go the same way. I don't know if this goes to the Hatchdow or if it goes to Snapshot. I don't actually know what the next step is for this, but I guess there's not a lot of people saying this is a terrible idea. Like this line is a terrible idea. Let's not do it. So, okay. Reward system moving forward.
Just so you know, it doesn't need to go to the Hatchdow. It should just be Snapshot, and then it gets voted on when, like, on chain when we upgrade, basically ratified with the upgrade.
Okay. Got it. Okay. What that means essentially is that it will be a vote that has, do we do the commons upgrade and is this covenant? It's like a bundled vote. Is that the correct understanding? Okay. Reward system moving forward. Let's see. All right, so this is still maybe a little more work needed here. Okay. All right, so this is, I think, something that's to be tackled when Ivy's back and has a lot more to do. And then the proposal for initial buy. So this is something that I think Mitch, I don't know if Mitch was interested in sort of spearheading this liquidity consideration for external pools. And let me just try to find it in here. And Nate, you mentioned an interest in maybe championing DAO to DAO ideas. Is that something you'd be interested in doing or have the bandwidth to do?
Sorry, say that again.
Yesterday you mentioned an interest in the DAO to DAO aspect of one of these ideas. Did I get that wrong? Was that you that yesterday said you'd be interested in how we can partner with other DAOs?
I am, yes, very much so.
Okay. Is that something that you feel like you could take on championing, and maybe who else could help with that?
Yeah, I would need some advice process in terms of, like, you know, setting boundaries and understanding what types of agreements and partnerships we can make, but yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, it seems to me like there's actually a lot of conversation around this from the maybe the Commons Forum team as well, and what is possible within the aspects of, you know, holding tokens for as a DAO. And yeah, I think there's a lot of, I'd love to hear your ideas on this, Griff, or your ideas about the feasibility of this.
I mean, the main thing is that you shouldn't do it through the main DAO. It's just like too bureaucratic to go through the main DAO to be holding some fractions of tokens, or, you know, of your, but you can have, like, you know, a sub DAO that is holding diversified assets or something, you know, for long-term storage or whatever, or like alignment. And it would basically, we should just hold these in a sub DAO that's a little more agile than than this, and they would just be like, oh yeah, these are our financial advisors. Look, they hold some money, or they're like our partnership DAO, and they hold our allied funds. But I wouldn't do it in the main DAO.
Yeah, someone at the go ahead, Zeb.
I just yeah. I wanted to say like we also should before like deciding what we want to use the money for. We should decide how much money do we want to take from. Like it also, as Griff was mentioning on the forum, it remove activity from speculators. If we take a lot of money, maybe speculators won't be engaging, and this is also not. I mean, it gives they bootstrap our economy, so it can be good. And yeah, and when we know like the money we are thinking to take, then we can make plans. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of things to do, but maybe if we take a lot of money, it would not be as beneficial as we expect.
I did recently see a post that said that we shouldn't use it for the liquidity. Is that correct? Do people favor that opinion?
I was saying we should use it for liquidity mining, but not put it in the pool directly.
And did you say the max would be like around 400K if we do it?
Yeah, just I mean, there's only so much money. It would just be a lot of slippage on the bonding curve, and maybe it would probably totally dissuade people from even participating in secondary markets. This is what I said in the post, at least. That like more than honestly, like there should in my opinion, like doing more than like 150K period, it would be a little bit dicey. Just like, we take all the fun out of it for any speculators to come in. They just like, oh look, they're minting themselves vested tokens, and then they're buying all the good tokens, all the cheap tokens, and then they're going to give it to other people who can sell it. It's like, it's not as exciting if you're like want to get in the TEC. It kind of dampens the spirit. So I wouldn't change. I mean, it's hard to say any of these numbers until we have the final parameters, but just like to put it in perspective, just kind of feeling into it, I would put like, don't expect to buy that much money get that much money out of this, maybe 100K, 150K max, up for totally buying out of the bonding curve. Otherwise it wouldn't feel very good for the secondary markets.
Yeah, I tend to agree really strongly with that. It's probably going to be something small enough. And then I guess it really comes down to like, what is the best use for what we're doing it with, for what we're using it with. There was an interesting point that Angela made at the conference that there are organizations that would be very interested in supporting token engineering commons, but weren't able to participate as an organization because they're not individuals, so they weren't hatchers. They weren't able to register as trusted seed and participate in a hatching perspective. And we had a recent sync, and I sort of shared this proposal with her, and her thinking was that the people that she could see that might be interested would be the people that are already supporting the Token Engineering Academy. So they're already extremely well value aligned in terms of like, open source goods, educational sources for token engineering. And so it seemed like that might be one avenue of, really well value aligned organizations that we would want to be involved with us, but would also be, maybe we could entice them is not the right word, but sort of show our mutual respect by offering this, a favorably priced token. The liquidity idea is amazing. Is there some person that would champion that idea and go through the logistics and be able to write a proposal? Because I know we do have some time constraint in terms of getting these proposals out. Mitch isn't here, so I don't know if that's something that he would be interested in championing, but maybe we can check with Mitch on that, or if there's somebody else.
Chewy, who would even be the person to talk to for Tulip Swarm? I think Tulip Swarm does the liquidity mining, right?
Yes, probably the guy that posted the proposal. I think it's Ceres DC, something like. Let me look it up really quick. Yeah.
Bradley was looking for more hours. I could try to pass it to him. He's in the one hive, he's in the common swarm, so. But of course, if someone else wants to take it, it shouldn't be in my hands, it just won't happen.
He's actually in the TEC Discord server already. I just tagged him in the Steward channel. Probably I can set up a call between him and Bradley, and yeah, take some notes and see if he has any ideas.
Between who and Bradley?
It's Ceres, serious business. Maybe that's the font. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, I'm gonna spell it like that, even though that is probably okay. All right, interesting. Cool. Anything else we want to talk about this? The reward system idea and the reward DAO. I think that probably that's something that the that Livia Juanca, maybe do you have some ideas about making a proposal for SourceGrid and Praise?
The thing with the reward DAO is Mitch was suggesting just to, we put more money into the into the funding pool, and it can take to the reward system at any time. We don't need to buy it. We can just set the params.
Well, the thing is, if we buy it later, then we might pay a higher price. So like the money won't get the same number of TEC tokens. So it's really this idea of like, well, if we're the first buyer, then we can speculate on the TEC tokens that we know we're going to have to spend.
But isn't the same just to put more money into the common pool? Like if you wanna get 50k, you then put what you wanted on the common pool plus that.
No, because if we put it in the common pool, then people can buy the TEC tokens before we can, because then we'd have to vote, and then we have to send it in and send it to a DAO, and then the DAO would finally have the wrapped X die, and then it would go buy the TEC tokens. And at the time that we launched the curve, there's no one else can buy besides us. Because we could buy in the same transaction. But if we wait, people could buy and no one else can sell. So the price is guaranteed kind of to go up once you launch the bonding curve. So you might as well just buy it for the cheapest that you can. Oh, hey, it's serious business.
We've been summoned.
Thanks for popping in, man. We were just talking about you. Well, Chu is speaking your praises, and we heard that you're like the man to talk to about doing liquidity mining.
Thanks, Chewy. I guess it depends on what kind of context you mean. I've been doing a bit of research into it, just because my role working with the DeFi swarm over at One Hive. So I have some context, and I can maybe offer some thoughts and options if you're all curious about it.
Yeah, we were wondering if we had TEC tokens, could we actually just use them in any of the infrastructure that you have to reward liquidity provision for TEC versus Honey or anything like that?
So let's see. TEC is primarily on XDAI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's as far as the dexes that I'm tracking, there's really 3 that have interesting options that'd be available for liquidity mining. One Hive / Honey Swap, with the honeycomb is an option. I think there'd be a lot of support for doing that. Just in the interest of full transparency, though, like the governance of honeycomb and farming rewards is currently a bit of a scrum. So I unfortunately don't have, like, the swarm doesn't have the autonomy to be able to just say, like, okay, cool, well, like, we have a pool that we can allocate to TEC and, like, we'll set it at this much, right? Like that, like, on the XDAI side, unfortunately, like, we're a bit handcuffed there.
So I just want to make this clear. What if we didn't even ask you to allocate your own tokens, but instead actually we provided TEC tokens that would actually act to reward people who are providing liquidity there? And if you guys voted to add extra tokens, that would be cool. But
yeah, that would be awesome. At present, there's no capability on the honeycomb side to be able to support that. Swapper, on the other hand, does have that. They have tooling where you can just go and, like, create your own liquidity farms right off the bat.
Cool. Well, awesome. And then I guess
And are they on XDAI?
Yep, they're on XDAI. Swapper's on XDAI. I know Sushi also has, like, dual reward farms, but, like, I don't have any connections to that community, so I couldn't necessarily say. It's not self-service in the way that Swapper is, right? Like, Swapper is fully self-service. And then you can also, like, go hit up the DX DAO and ask them if they want to do matching or anything like that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that'd be fun to partner with them. Are they? Have you ever seen it done? Have you seen people make their own liquidity mining pools?
Yep, DAO House is doing it right now.
Great. Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those were our main questions. So thanks a lot, man.
You're very welcome. Cool. Yeah, and yeah. All right. Well, good luck, and maybe if you have any more questions, I'm happy to provide any expertise or context on this that I can.
Thanks for jumping in.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Ciao. Cool. Interesting. So maybe we could speak to somebody at DAO House as well about how they're implementing it. Do we have a champion? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure I can throw someone at this. Doing this kind of stuff is not hard. I bet one of the General Magic guys or somebody, if no one else wants to champion, I can champion the technical side, but the political side, I'm hoping to pass the buck.
Okay, yeah, it's actually a very good question. Seems like Mitch might want to champion the political side, because it was his idea originally, and he seems to be supporting it as well. Cool. I'm seeking out through Angela, and YGG is always also interested in this perspective of, like, how we can bring in strategic partners. So I think we'll be looking at this side. I don't know if it'll pan out to anything or not, but at least the conversations already started happening. And then the DAO partnerships, Nate, I think Jessica is a great person to talk to as the sort of common stack ecosystem development lead. She might have some really interesting advice for you or direction for you on this one.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll talk to her.
And maybe, I don't know, Chewy and Griffith, are there people at One Hive who might be interested in this? Would it even be worth talking to One Hive? for some sort of token swap, DAO to DAO partnership, something along those lines, structuring some sort of agreement there.
Usually, Dosh and Solar are pretty good for starting these conversations. I can look into it. Actually, I mean, probably it's too soon, and you're all gonna hate the idea. But I got contacted by a CEX, like a new CEX from Mexico that is interested in some of the projects living in XDAI, including TEC. And I asked them, like, what would it take, like, to list the TEC token in an exchange? Like, how could it work with a bonding curve? And apparently, it would be like kind of a nightmare. and yeah, it's just something that it's not really like compatible. However, I started talking to Solar about it because it should be easier in with Honey and Agave. And I'm having some conversations with him about this. So probably I could just start talking to him about some stuff that we could also like put together. But yeah, like not the CEX idea though. But
I don't know why there.
do you have
I don't know.
input on that,
I don't know. I don't know why there'd be any trouble listing this token on an exchange. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because I don't know if there are like some arbitrage issues, something like that. I can remember, but I'll ask Sam for a more
But those aren't
in-depth
issues.
explanation.
Those are opportunities. Those are great. The more arbitrage, the better.
Okay.
I mean, the main thing is first we have to vote that it's going to be transferable. I'm pretty sure it will be, but like if it's non-transferable, then it won't work. But there shouldn't be a problem just because it's issued from a bonding curve. It's still just a normal token that you can put on anything.
Okay, so would they need to like acquire a bunch of a TEC for listing it, or what would be the?
I mean, that's up to them. Most of these exchanges usually charge a listing fee, and they're like looking for us to give them money to do it, and that's probably not. That'd be something we'd have to vote on or something. But like for them to just put it up there, I mean, I think all they need is the token address and decimals, and they're off to the races. Token name. I mean, seriously, all they need is a token address, and they should be able to put on their exchange.
Okay, I'll look into that, but yeah, I'll leave
That
in
would
the
probably
speech that we were preparing.
Yeah, I guess I'm questioning whether paying a centralized exchange to list us would be something that would fly with the community in general. I feel like that. I mean, maybe that's a future use case, but not a use case for this initial set of tokens. Maybe that's something like for the future, but not for this. I think that makes sense.
Okay, I'll look into that and see if I have some updates.
And
for
here's
next week.
the main thing. It's like, how many central exchanges are value aligned? Like, this is really like really strategic value alignment with groups or individuals. But okay, cool. Anyway, if something turns up, share it. We'll definitely want to hear it. All right, we had this critical. I'm going to move on from this. Does anybody else want to say anything about any of these proposals or advice process before we move on to the next topic? It's like the heart of what's happening in the TEC right now. So I think we need to give the time it needs. Anybody?
I have one thing, but it's not related to the topic, but Agave just launched, and I was so excited to make the reserve pool with Agave XDAI. Maybe it's not the time.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Like the thing, it would be like it would give us an interest on our funding pool. But yeah, it was a same idea, and Sam always have good ideas. But yeah, maybe it's better when we do the commons upgrade proposals to just sit there. But
yeah, I'm not totally following it, but maybe it's also something we can add to. I mean, does it has to do with the initial buy on the bonding curve? Is it related?
No. It's to transfer our funds from the funding pool to Agave, and then we have Agave XDAI on our funding pool, and it will give us interest.
Yeah, so like kind of like compound,
Yeah.
you know, or you can like you get C die or like you get A die from Aave. So you send, this would be something that we could do that should happen that we should discuss before and I would honestly ask Agave to lead the charge on it, because like they're the ones who would really benefit from it. But saying, hey, in our bonding curve or in our common pool, we should have the base currency earning interest as opposed to just sitting there not earning anything.
And this is something that does need to be done before the Commons upgrade, or could be done at any point?
It would be much, much easier to be done before the Commons upgrade.
So it would be a new proposal for advice process?
Mm-hmm. But I would ask the Agave people to lead it. They have the resources, or I mean, they benefit so much that, like, you know, it'd be probably in there. I think that we could find someone if they wanted to lead it and be a direct contact.
Should we check only Agave, or should we check also other options?
I don't know if there's any other options on XDAI. I haven't seen it.
No, not on XDAI. Any other blockchain?
Well, I mean, I guess we could bridge some kind of interest-bearing token over. That is also another option.
Because Terra is giving 20% on USD.
Who is? Seller?
Terra through Anchor.
Well, that would be pretty hard to bridge. Do they have like a token that earns interest like that?
Yeah, the stable coin, the dollar stable coin on Terra.
And there's like a derivative of it that's the token bearing interest.
I haven't tried, but I'll send you the link. I haven't tried. I've just read over it. I've checked it. It's the Anchor protocol, it runs on Terra, and it's the one providing the swaps on the wallet. And they just they're giving away, at least that's what it looks like, a 19.5% staking the dollar, the US dollar Terra.
Can I just?
It was just a suggestion. I mean, do we look at any opportunity out there, or we just focus on the XDAI because it's easier to move, you know, our funds from any protocol running on XDAI?
I want to just pause this conversation to say it's a really intriguing conversation, and it maybe sounds like we need a treasury management committee or treasury management working group who can really focus on this as the core task of the working group. I don't know that the stewards is going to be the right place to hash this out, to be honest, but it did at least surface that there's a need for this conversation to happen in the TEC in a more you know, with voices and experience and expertise that people have. So what would be the best way to do that? How is our DAO going to handle our treasury? That's a big question mark.
I really think the approach should be through the community. I really don't like have experts and, you know, people that you have. Yeah, I mean, the way I was trying to build transparency, for example, with the audit, it's like community have to do it, because if transparency is saying like they're reviewing it, or they, you know, then it's a bureaucratic system where transparency could say, oh, I think this is not correct audit, or, you know, oh, you're not my friend, you know, and stuff like that. And it's very important, like it's done by the community, for the community.
So there's one thing for the community to vote on it, but there's another thing for a community to craft a proposal. And perhaps we should have a group of people who are experienced craft a proposal that then the community could vote on. But does that make sense? And that's sort of
I completely agree. We need a group to deal with proposals, analyze what's out there, and propose, and then the community will vote.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying if we do nothing, then nothing will happen. But if there's so who's our treasury management team?
I also feel like
I'm-
this is really difficult because we don't have I like, in my honest opinion, we don't have the right people for this. I do think we need to really search for individuals who are really good with the treasury management aspect of things, and I think they're kind of few and far between in the DAO space. But I don't know.
But the thing is, like,
But even if we look for people out there which is with expertise, which I don't see why not, but it should be led by a group inside the DAO. I mean, we can request advice from anyone out there if we are not experts on treasury, but we should be leading. I wouldn't like anyone outside of the DAO taking those decisions, even if they are just proposals.
Okay, it sounds like we just have we have a sort of an open space where if there is someone in our community that can start to lead this initiative, it would be extremely useful, or somebody in our group of stewards or in our active community today. But it's a very good question. And just from this conversation that we've had, I think that there's a lot of different avenues that can be researched. It should be researched, and then there's probably going to be 2 or 3 clear best options from the research that's done. So a little stuck going forward. Maybe we'll keep this on our next agenda as well to keep in the back of our minds, but nobody's coming immediately to my mind. And I know I wouldn't have the bandwidth to take this on myself.
I always know a guy. I always have a couple people up my sleeve. So, but again, it's kind of like, I agree with Septimus. Honestly, I don't think that we need the experts to lead the group or make the decisions. We just need people to lead the group, and then advice process with people who have a good view of what's available, what's safe, and have some opinions. And I can definitely provide some experts if like Santi's leading, not a lawyer, but he's leading our legal working group, right? I think that's okay.
I think the main thing is people that have time to do the exploration and the research, and then craft a message, craft something that then the community can read and understand and respond to. And that's really the piece of work here, right?
Yeah. I mean, and even just the higher level, there's always the details, and then there's the higher level. Do we even want to? There's 3 questions here. It's do we put it in the bonding curve? Do we put it in the common pool? Do we put it in both? Do we put it in neither? Right? Those are the options, and what the asset is. That's a detail, honestly, that I think we're getting caught up on in some ways.
yeah, another problem I see, this is a privileged position where imagine I'm the person on chart, right? And then Semi's he likes honey, so I'm going to do partnership with honey, and then I will write it some way the community likes it, right? It's a privileged position, like it or not, it's what it is, and people can do, I feel it's very delicate position to be, and even if you have, the only thing you have to do is convince the community with your power you already have.
But that's the reason it's not just one person. It's going to be people who internally will have to approve it. Approve the proposal that will have to be voted by the DAO, and then after the DAO voting, the group will have to be in charge of, managing whatever has been voted on the DAO, but not just one person. It will have to be a democratic process.
Yeah, but even if there is a lot of person, what if someone from outside wants to propose something that maybe it's better for the community, but it's worse from the individuals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always going to be bad guys in the scene. It's just a matter of catching them and kicking them out of the DAO. Why if someone who's in charge of the treasury right now, or the 2 or the 3 people that have the keys, if we have the money in Gnosis or whatever, run away with the money. We have to put whatever we can in charge to make sure that we avoid risking, but we gotta trust the people in our community. Otherwise, there is no way to move forward.
Yeah, I guess I also want to add, it's definitely not the idea of having a group of people work on it together is not to be less transparent. It's just to bring together different points of view and different possibilities, and then discuss the merits, the advantages, the disadvantages, in order to create a proposal that then the community can discuss. If we just say, hey, community, what are treasury management options? It can get very chaotic very quickly. And the idea would be that, we would share something so that everyone can then weigh in on it, and then share the pros and cons, sort of like we're doing right now for these proposals under advice process.
I agree. And on top of that, if we end up doing something like this, we should have a transparent board, where everyone can see the performance of the treasury there. And right away, if we see that something's not moving in the direction that the DAO voted or whatever was proposed, we can just stop, keeping the money there.
Yeah. All right, big topic. Anybody want to add any final thoughts before we move on to the next one?
Could I just propose that the Treasury Management Working Group, if or when it eventually forms, maybe it just comes out of transparency as a vibe, Like a lot of these working groups that we've had so far they kind of evolve out of a working group. And if there's a working group that I would want it to evolve out of, it would be transparency. I don't think it's SoftGov or Dev or any of these other groups. So maybe we find the people and they emerge out of the transparency working group.
Yeah, I have no strong response to that.
The thing with transparency, like for example, last call, it was just me and Ivy. Zero came some calls, but yeah, it's mostly me and Ivy. So we really need more engagement. Like there is a lot of things me and Ivy are talking to do, but yeah, we probably need more engagement.
Well, if you take something sexy like controlling all of the money in the DAO, it might increase engagement.
Yeah, that might be true. But yeah.
I never thought controlling was a sexy word, but anyway.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Yeah, I have no strong reaction to that. Like it sounds like it'd be nice for finances to be very transparent. And if that's where it ends up, cool. Okay, any last thoughts before we switch to another subject? We have 3 minutes left.
No, just from my point, whatever we end up, whatever that group, starts from, transparency for sure is gonna be there, in there.
Okay, I'm just going to interject real quick because I'm not sure we have time enough to start anything else anyways. I'm just going to bump up my issue to say that please, working groups, if you could give me some very precise wishes for a new contributor. So it sounds like we need to put out the feelers for some pretty specific roles. So the last wish list we did was kind of general, and I'm sure it generated some good contributions. But if we could get specific about this, that might be helpful. So maybe we could, transparency, what in particular, and then for the treasury, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, thanks, Tim.
Katie shared her list in this in the agenda. Yeah, okay, very quickly. Critical to Commons upgrade. There is a Zen Hub board that we aren't working on. Maybe this needs to be a completely separate meeting itself, but we will be doing sprint planning on Friday. And as part of that process, we will be identifying everything that is critical to our commons upgrade. So the focus of our sprint planning this week will be not only to plan our sprint for the next 2 weeks, but also to identify everything from each working group that's critical to the commons upgrade and tagging it there. And then, so the One Hive TV, T Wells reached out to me about having TEC on, and I thought today it would be interesting for us to sort of push the cultural aspect of the TEC. So maybe I would give like a quick update on where we are in terms of the phases, phase 1, phase 2. Wanka could share the Graviton training coming up. Someone from Params could share the educational aspect of the dashboard, and YGG has agreed to share the labs curriculum coming up. I guess that's a good idea. I don't know if anyone has any other feedback on that, but I thought it would be nice to sort of represent multiple stewards from the, on that new program of One Hive.
When is it going to be? How can or who is like the anchor to guide me from this?
It's T Wells, and I'm figuring out our timing. I'm waiting for a response from him, either this week or next week. So I'll reach out to you specifically, and maybe Griff, you could point me in the direction of someone in Params who would be interested in, who could do that. Vitor, Nagin, I don't know, Lauren, Mitch.
Do what exactly?
Just show off the dashboard and sort of the educational perspective of what we're using the dashboard for.
Yeah, Mitch is great. Mitch or Vitor.
Okay, cool. All right, we're at top of the hour, and I wanted Chui to present his comms DAO, but if you haven't already seen it, I'm pretty sure everyone has, jump in the agenda, and there's a link to his proposal. And
I also attached the link in the end. If you want to add like some comments, please do. Like this, this is going to be like really good for getting a more solid proposal. So thanks, Dan.